Harid Bhasin, and I have more than 18 years of experience in the IT, right? And that spans across different domains, right, from software development to business analysis and project management, right? So I started my career as a in software developer, right, in Java technology, right, and then over a period of time, I did my MBA from SP Jain in Dubai and Singapore, and also I did an exchange program with Schule School of Business. After completing my master's, then I moved into business analysis, right? And then I worked for some years in business analysis, and post that I moved into project management, and uh, so currently I'm working as a project and program manager. And I have experience of working in different large corporates like L&T, HCL, IBM. I worked in Singapore with Changi International Airport as a financial analyst, with Scotia Bank in Toronto as a business analyst. I have different certifications. So I'm certified in business analysis and in project management. Yeah, PMP certified, Agile certified, ITIL certified, also certified in artificial intelligence, and also in various cloud related topics as well. Right? And I've been conducting trainings for different working professionals across the globe. I've conducted good classroom, corporate sessions, right? So once COVID came in, right, so then there used to happen more of these online virtual sessions. So, a lot
Oh,
of training programs in business analysis, project management, agile, risk management. Right? We'll talk about today. So that's a high level
yeah, it
about
seems
myself. Yeah.
your experience is similar with me. I start with software developer and then business analyst, and then the last is previous the current experience is as project manager. But now I'm in risk management analyst. Uh, Previously, I also hold a PMP, Prince 2 also, and also
Oh, right.
agile practitioner, and also ITL, yeah, and
Oh, great,
also
great.
for enterprise architect, yeah. That's why I want to get again in PMI RMP, yeah. But
Great.
I don't know, yeah, with the last version of BM book, or yeah, actually already cover agile, yeah. But I don't know how to synchronize, yeah, on align with the waterfall methodology, yeah, in the certification, yeah. But now it
Mm-hmm.
seems that the trend is already in agile.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. That's good. You have good experience in the project management area, and good. Even I'm certified in Prince 2 as well. It's nice to know about.
Yes.
You are also certified in PMP and Prince 2 as well. Yeah, it's good. So PMI trainings are always very much interesting. So good you have experience in giving those clearing those certifications. So then I think uh, you won't find that too difficult to
Yes,
clear
because
this exam. And yeah, we'll have frequent breaks in between, right? Kind of cover a session for around 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then go for a 30-minute break, right? Then again have a session, go for 30-minute break. Okay. So we know that, yeah. So get frequent breaks in between, not too much overload of information. Okay, so yeah,
yes,
risk management professional, it's offered by PMI Project Management Institute. So this is you know uh, a professional credential focused on project risk managers, right, termed as PMI RMP, PMI Risk Management Professional. And for that, you need to give the PMI RMP exam to earn that particular credential. So we'll talk about all the domains and modules that you need to study, you need to cover, develop proficiency in to ace the exam. So if you cover all the practices, all the modules, topics, so that then you can go ahead and clear the PMI RMP exam. Yes. There are certain eligibility criteria which you need to have to be eligible to give the PMI RMP exam. And whatever experience you showcase should be within the last 5 years prior to your application submission. So some more recent experience you would need to showcase and mention in the application. So talk about the application process, the eligibility criteria. Right? So these are three aspects as you see on the screen.
Uh,
Right? So
the experience will be checked or sampling ya because previously when I register in PMP exam I didn't my submission is not checked by PMI ya just pass.
yeah, so actually what happens is around 1%, 1 to 2% of the applications are only audited. Rest are not. So only if it comes in the audit process, it has your application, then they will check it and they will ask for all your the documents as well. Right? If not, they won't ask you. Just fill in the application, submit it, right, and it will get approved. But yeah, so best is that to avoid any challenges, ensure that you fill it appropriately, the application form, and then you ensure also you have any relevant documentation is needed available with you. Right. So try to be careful on what kind of eligibility criteria you have. Right? Are you meeting that criteria? Right? Because if it comes in the audit process and you're not meeting the criteria, right? So then the application won't get approved. And so that is
But
important. But
but
those 99% cases, right? Yeah, mostly, yeah, get approved.
but
Those cases will get
from the title of the certification ya, PMI Risk Management Professional will it should be deep in risk of project or risk as a broaden scope ya.
There is a burden scope. That is fine, right? Yeah, right. In the burden scope, you're able to work on risk. Yeah. Or
Mm,
project risk management. So whatever domain we cover, if you're performing those specific activities, which I
So
think
it
we must be performing, right?
so
You
it
can
means
showcase
we
that. Yeah.
will only focus in risk management of the project ya, not the
Yeah.
management as a broader scope ya.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, because if currently, if in the risk management as a broaden scope, there will be ISO 20 2100 for the reference and also COSO ya. But for
Mhm.
this PMI RMP as a part of knowledge area in PM Book 7 ya.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
noted.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's my area in the book 7. Correct. So educational background requires if you are having a secondary diploma, a school diploma. So then you require 36 months of experience that you need to showcase. Right? So that will be 3 years of experience in project risk management. Right? You will take to fill in the application. And then you also require the formal education of 40 hours and project risk management to fill in the application form. And then if you are having a bachelor's degree, right, so in that case, 24 months spent in the specialized area project risk management. There's 2 years of experience you would need to fill in the application form, right? And then 30 hours of professional development, right, or education you need to, fill in. On the other hand, if you are having a bachelor's or even a postgraduate degree, right, the better from the GSC accredited program. So in that case, we need just 12 months, specialized area of professional risk management. And then 30 contact hours are again another field in the area of project risk management. You know, right? So in fact, in the education section, feel free to mention details about Sprintzeal, right? Because we are already going to this particular training program. So you are in a position to meet the criteria. Because after completing the training, you will also get a certificate from Sprintzeal. Which you can use as artifacts for your project risk management education section. So Dhoni, currently, uh, are you having the bachelor's degree as well, right?
I have a master degree, postgraduate degree.
Oh, great, great, okay. Right. And you based from which location? Then? Okay.
Yes,
You are
sorry.
from which location?
Actually, I came from Indonesia, Bang, of Indonesia, but yeah, frankly speaking, previously I took the training offline, yeah, in Seoul, but I already in Seoul, yeah, for preparing the class, yeah. That's why, but on Saturday, Tenzin informed me that the training will be conducted in online is okay, yeah, but for me just request to Sprintzeal that the training attendance or training certification for me should be put offline training, yeah,
Okay,
because
okay.
I need to responsible with my organization.
Okay, okay. Great, great. Yeah, I think yeah, we can do that. No problem.
For PMI RMP certification fee, how much actually for no, yeah? This but for me actually already give voucher from Sprintzeal, right? But just in case if I should uh, retook again, yeah.
Okay, you already have the exam voucher, you said? Sorry?
Sorry.
Do you have the exam voucher?
For this training, I request to Sprintzeal also training and the voucher, yeah, to took the certification, yeah, after
Okay, okay.
the training, and then the Sprintzeal will give me the voucher, and I will prepare for the exam, yeah. Yeah, maximum maybe in 3 months after the training, yeah, I will take.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, correct, correct. So, so yeah, for PMI RMP, in fact, yeah. So are you also member of PMI, Tony?
No.
Okay, okay. Right, right.
Are you a
Yeah.
member of PMA also?
Yeah, I'm a member of PMI, yes.
Because
I'll be attending in fact, a conference, PMI Southeast Asia conference, South Asia conference, in fact, in coming weekend as well. PMI that is happening in another city in India, in Hyderabad. So,
oh
so I'm,
yeah,
I'm traveling this yeah, weekend to Hyderabad to attend that PMI conference on coming Saturday.
because I still consider what is the benefit to be PMI member, yeah. Is there any benefit for us to be member?
Yeah, well, lots of benefits are there if you are a PMI member. Firstly, you save on the examination cost. So idly, the cost for a non-member is 670 US dollars, right, for PMI RMP. But if you are a PMI member, it will be $520 dollars.
Yes, and
Right,
also
and
when
And
you
similarly for if you retake the exam, again you save on money, right? Because it will be $335 to retake the exam if you are a member, right? Otherwise, a non-member is $435.
yes,
So that is what, yeah, yeah. So firstly, you're saving this yeah, the fee part by a good amount, and secondly, you'll get other benefits as well. There are various conferences, events like which I am attending. Yeah, so you are able to attend those. Mostly, they are free of cost for people who are PMI members, right? Or even if they are paid, some of them they will be of very less cost, right, compared to a non-member, right, who will pay to join those, or sometimes might not get the opportunity as well. It's a lot of webinars, seminars keep on happening. We get to network with people across different locations, different regions, right? In those conferences, and yeah, you get a copy of PIMBOK as well if you're a PMI member for free, right? And besides that, some other materials as well, uh, and you get various opportunities to earn professional development units as well, PDUs, so again required for renewal of your certification. Yeah.
yes,
There's a lot of advantages we have. Yeah. Correct.
yeah, actually, I just think not only the fee. If I want to be a member of PMA, I need beside a fee, I need, for example, additional knowledge or additional maybe, yeah, just you said that there is invitation to join conference, seminar, and also etc. Yeah, yeah, it's more interesting for me. Yeah, besides fee. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's the advantage. Yeah, so probably yeah, you want to take the membership, right? To take it, I would definitely recommend it. So yeah, because of the various advantages you'll have yeah, if you're a PMI member. So it's not mandatory, right, for to give the exam because but then you need to pay a higher fee, right?
Yes, noted. Thank you.
So yeah, so it's not required, but still definitely recommended. And I myself a PMI member, right? So I hope to see it. So the advantage is and very good, right? You get to connect with a lot of people in the same location, and many times it helps in your job search as well, right? Yeah. Get network, you can ask for referral for if you're looking for job as well. So those advantages also, yeah, right. You'll have some people who are also available to help you for project management, like service management, yeah, in your case. If you'll be looking for any new job, right, new opportunity, again, just having a PMO membership and networking with different people might be beneficial for you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Good there. I will
yeah,
rethink. I
yeah,
rethink again, yeah, to be a member or not. Yeah, if
yeah, great, great,
any
yeah,
possibility and many benefit, I will join to be a member of PMI.
great, 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 yeah. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Right. So yeah, as I told about right the if you are a member, right, you will save on the examination fee, $520 uh, dollars, right, and then if you after every 3 years you can renew your certification as well, right? But for that, you need to pay the renewal fee, right, and meet whatever criteria are there. And then the advantage of PMI is it supports any specific yeah, training method, credit cards, you can perform wire transfer, right? Anyone you can make the payment and different currencies. Right. So the first process was computer-based testing, based upon which PMI exam was conducted, right? Where you go to a prometric location, a prometric center, right? where
Yes.
correct,
Yeah,
go and
actually,
sit for the exam.
when we took PMI exam, we will go to uh, uh, what we call the institution who provide the PMI exam and will be uh, supervised when we took the exam by the proctor offline
Mhm. Correct, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's a proctor based uh, exam. So in earlier days, in fact, you go to the examination center, right, and there you write the exam. But then from August 2021, they have also started the online proctor testing exam, which means that now you can give the exam from your home as well, right? Yeah, from the
but
comfort of your home. Yeah,
we need to provide how many camera from and back camera or
yeah,
minimum two cameras to be joined in online proctor testing
correct. Yeah, correct. So you need to ensure that your where your exam is clean, right? And camera is enabled so you can show the proctor that there is everything is clear. There's no person sitting close to you helping you out for the exam. Those things you want to be careful with. There's no unfair means you're using while giving the exam from home. And hence, one proctor will be there, will be monitoring you once you are giving the exam. But the advantage is, you can give from comfort of your home. You don't need to go to the uh, a center, right? If you want to give from the comfort of your home, so you have that particular option as well. Right? So if
Al-
you, yeah,
also for PMP
yeah,
PMP
also for PMP, correct.
and PBA PMI PBA.
PMI as well, yes, correct. So for all they have included. So this is good. Now they have included this online doctored system. So now you can give from your home if you don't want to travel to a new location or profit location. If they have. So yeah, the process remains the same for any PMI exam, right? You fill out the application form, right, and then the PMI will review the application. Once approved. They will then send you an email with the exam scheduling instructions, and you can go ahead and schedule your exam to a suitable date and time, right, which works the best for you. Also based on the availability, the time slots of the proctor as well. Right? And I think that Donnie mentioned around 3 months of time frame will take the so that's good. You'll get uh, some good time that you can study and prepare well for the exam. Yeah. So you can schedule it through online. You can also do it through telephone, call PMI, and they can help you in scheduling as well.
So sorry,
So
Harit.
both the options. Yeah. Okay.
Just want to know what time is in India now Five.
In India, it's 6:10 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, 6 already 6 it's okay I'm afraid that your time is 5 a.m.
No, my time is early morning. Yeah, 6:10. How about you, Donny?
In
That
Korea right now 9 39
9:39.
and
Okay.
40
Okay. Okay, so it's a 3.5 hours. Okay, difference between your and my time. Okay. Right. So that's about your the exam related information. So
yes.
as I mentioned, both the options are there. You can give at the examination center or give exam at your home as well. Just need to follow the process, fill out the details, right, and schedule the exam, and then you're good to go. Okay, so yeah, about the exam, there are in total 115 multiple choice questions. Yeah, multiple choice, multiple answers. Select the appropriate answers from the options are provided. And out of these 115, in fact, 15 are considered pre-test questions, which means that they do not affect the score, and they are just a way to test the validity for future examination questions. So only 100 questions basically are scored uh, in the exam. But you might not know what are those 15 questions. Like, so try to attempt all the 115 questions which are there in the exam. Right? And the time which is provided is 2.5 hours.
So there will be exam option, yeah. This is there will be a optional 10-minute breaks for the exam.
Yeah, correct. Uh,
Because for previous exam for PMP for 2 hours there is no break for the exam, yeah.
right. So correct. So here you will have the option that if you want to take a break, yes. So optional 10-minute break you can take. But then you'll only get that option after you have completed, say, approximately around 58 questions. So around half of the exam, you can say. If you have already completed it, you get that option. So that's the good part which now PMI has implemented. Right? So you don't need to sit for 2.5 hours at a stretch. Right? So once you are midway in the exam, right, you get, if you want to take a break, then try to utilize that break, right? So, with a 10-minute break, which you will have. Right. But the important part also is try to take the break only once you have reviewed all the 58 questions, right? And because you won't be able to return to those questions, right? So that's the important part. Take the break, right? Only once you have completed the first half of the exam. So 115 halves
So
of 58 questions.
if we
So,
take a break, we cannot review from the first page, yeah.
yeah, you can't go back. So they put that because to avoid any unfair means, right? Because probably somebody might take a break and go to the notes, right, and and he might correct it. They want to avoid this situation.
Yeah.
So they ask you to take a break only once, yeah. You have confident you have completed the first section, and you don't want to
Yeah,
go back to
just
those questions.
just in case we want to rest room, yeah, because 2.5 hour is yeah, a long time, yeah, for us
Yeah,
to yeah, not to go to restroom.
yeah, exactly. Now a long time, right? So best is like, yeah, the first half section, right? Complete it, review it, try to be sure that, yeah, now you're confident you don't want to review it again, right? And then you take that break, because then you won't get an option to again go back to this question. You will move ahead again, starting to the next section. Right? So once your 10-minute break is over, right, you can resume your exam, continue with the next section. But yeah, you won't be able to go back to the previous section. So please remember that once you enter the webcam view, you expect to remain in view, and all personal items must be placed out of arm's reach. So that's important again. Yeah, the proctor will check that yes, everything is in place once starting the next part as well after you come back from the break. Yeah. Even say if you don't come back within the 10-minute break, right, the exam timer will start. Right? Yeah, irrespective of, say you go for break for 15 minutes, right? So then you lose out 5 minutes, right? Because the timer will start exactly 10 minutes because you have just 10 minutes break. Right? So try to be back on time so that you don't lose out on any time for the exam. Yeah. And so that it will be timed, right? We have a timed 10-minute break. So if you're taking more time, right, you will kind of lose that time. And once you're back, you won't be permitted to take any additional breaks, right? Because you get only that 10-minute break. But I think that's good enough, right? At least because in the earlier days, we didn't used to get any break. I used to sit for 2 hours, 2.5 hours at a stretch, right, without any break. But now at least we are getting that particular option, right? That you can go for the 10-minute break, right? Then come back from the restroom and then go for the next section. An examination is also preceded by a tutorial and a survey, both of which are optional, and both take up to 15 minutes to complete. The time used to complete the tutorial survey, and that is not included in the time for the exam. Right? So this is again some things which are optional if you want to right, fill out the survey, yeah, or to go to a tutorial with regard to the application of software used for the exam. Right? You can just feel free to go through that. Thanks. Yeah. So that is some PMI RMP examination related information, right? And if I talk about the course outline, right? So there are in fact 5 domains that we would be covering in detail. Right? And in fact, for the PMI RMP exam, you would need to master all these 5 modules, which definitely will go a lot in detail, covering uh, the various tasks, elements, and aspects of each of these domains. So the 5 domains which we have are risk strategy and planning, risk identification, risk analysis, risk response, and monitor and close risk. So to talk about risk strategy and planning, so this domain focuses on basically establishing an overall approach for risk management in the project. So here, our focus is on defining what are the risk objectives, setting processes, aligning with the organizational policies, and also defining or developing a risk management plan, right, which tells you how you would be in a position to guide the entire team of how they can manage or mitigate risks effectively. Secondly, risk identification. Risk identification module is all about discovering and documenting your potential risks that may affect the project. So in this, we will cover different techniques like brainstorming, checklists, interviews, defining a risk breakdown structure so as to ensure that all the risks have been captured comprehensively. Right? So you understand what are different kinds of risks we have uh, in the project that might impact the project, because risks are uncertain events which can negatively hamper your project. So it's important that you have to understand which are those risks so that you can go ahead and take an appropriate action upon all those risks, like to bring in value. Then a risk analysis. So this is about here risks are assessed and prioritized so that we understand the probability, the impact of the risk, the urgency. And here we talk about both qualitative and quantitative techniques. And some examples would include probability impact matrix, Monte Carlo simulation, which are used to determine which are the risks which matter the most for decision making. Fourthly, a risk response. So this response domain ensures that we have action plans which are developed and implement it so that we can address our risks. Right? So how you want to deal with the risk, what is the appropriate strategy of dealing with those risks, right? And we'll talk about different response strategies like avoidance. You can avoid the risk altogether. You can mitigate or reduce the overall impact of the risk. You can transfer it to say a third party, like we do that in the case of insurance policy. So if you incur a risk, right, it is the insurance company, right, to deal with that particular loss or risk which you might have. You can accept the risk as is if you feel that it doesn't have a very high impact. We also get to exploit opportunities. Sometimes we take on opportunities or risks uh, with the ideology that high risk will translate to high returns. So sometimes you're looking for risk related opportunities as well. And whatever risk you have, you would have also an owner tied to that risk, right? Who would need to carry out that risk. And you ensure that whatever risks are there, you are able to work upon those risks, right? And have those actions worked upon over a period of time. Last module, monitoring and closing out your risks, which involves ongoing tracking, reporting, the closure of your risks throughout the project life cycle. So this will ensure that the response actions are effective. You have new risks which are captured, the lessons learned which are documented effectively, and we have risks which are formally closed when they are no longer relevant. It's very important. Besides tracking your risks, you need to monitor them over a period of time. That okay, some of the other action is being taken over all of these risks, right, which we have in our tracker, right? And then it is getting they closed out, right? It was also important over a period of time.
How about this? The initial risk already follow the process risk identification, risk analysis, risk response, and then monitor. And after that, the residual risk is still probability and impact high. Do we need to add additional cycle again from analysis, response, and monitoring until the residual risk or accepted or not?
Yes, yes, we will have another cycle if we feel that risk is still not uh, it's closed out, right? It still remains. Right? We have some residual risk, right? So that's why it goes in an iterative manner. Yeah, yeah. It's an ongoing process, right? Which we have, right? It's not kind of a cycle. So it's an iterative, right? To continuously identify on a daily basis, identifying new risks, right? Tracking them out, closing them, right? And again, we focus on okay, what is left out, anything new is there, right? And that's why when you have those risk-related meetings as well, right? We always speak about that. Okay, do we have any new risks to add to our tracker that we already have in place? And we are also making changes to the existing risks we have available to you. Yeah, so both things are. Yeah, okay.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, right. So this you see, I'll share this as well. This examination content outline and specification sheet, right, which we have from PMI for our PMI RMP. So firstly, you need to be sure of right, the overall content, right, for PMI RMP. So this document talks about all those details, right? Right. So as I told you, right, you will have these 5 modules: risk strategy and planning, risk identification, risk analysis, risk response, and monitor and close out the risk. So you see, from the examination standpoint, right, risk strategy and planning is 22%. The
Yeah.
exam risk identification 23%, risk analysis 23%, risk response is 13%, right? And then
Y-
monitoring and controlling the risk is 19%. So you
Uh,
see, more or less they are equally important, right? The most
uh,
important are risk identification and risk analysis.
risk response the less percentage, yeah, comparing to others, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
risk response is yeah, comparatively less, yeah, 13%.
because the identification and analysis, yeah, I understand. Yeah, risk response just put or mitigate, accept, or etc. Yeah, but how
Mhm.
to identify or to quantify is bigger, yeah, than the risk response. Okay, noted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct. Yeah, I'll email this across to you. Yes. Right? And inside every domain, right, we will have the associated tasks, right, that we will cover, right? And then we will have enablers, right, which are examples of the work associated with any uh, task. Right? And so once we cover all these domains in detail, right, we'll talk about different tasks related to this particular domain, which are the responsibility of the risk manager uh, within that domain area. And then we'll also talk about different examples of how that particular task is kind of performed. Like if you talk about tasks, say identifying threats and opportunities, right? So enablers or examples of it is you would include aspects like you need to assess the complexity of the project risk. And you can do that through the techniques like SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Ishikawa diagram, right, which is a cause and effect diagram. It can perform an impact analysis on project objectives, right, by understanding the scope of the project, the schedule, the cost, resources, the overall quality, stakeholders, right, how they are getting impacted as a result of the project risk which we have in place. Example, just to
So
show you. Yeah.
for each domain, there will be specific methodology and also technique, yeah, to cover it. For example, in risk analysis, there will.
Okay, so yeah, before going on break, yeah, talk about that there are 5 domains, right? We have in PMI RMP, so
Yes,
strategy and planning,
I- I'm ready.
right? Yeah. Risk identification, risk analysis, risk response, right? And monitor and close the risk. If you go to the first module, right, which is risk strategy and planning, told of the our course outline, right? So this module, right, we have different tasks which have been defined. And from the exam point of view, right, there are 22% questions that will come from this module, right? And the tasks which are part of this module would include firstly performing a preliminary document analysis, where we would talk about being able to gather and review your documents, some the document which you can review prior to this identification. You can go through lessons learned documentation and historical data, determining, assigning who's responsible for your preliminary document analysis, right? People like project managers, risk managers, financial controllers, establishing documents relevant to the risk process. So all these will be part of your first task, performing a preliminary document analysis. The second task that we will talk about would be assessing the overall project environment for threats and opportunities. Where we will talk about which OPH is or natural process assets, EF, which is enterprise environmental factors, and also what project methodology is
Sorry,
needed.
Harith.
Yeah.
For the task one, when you assign to someone to gather the document and also, for example, previous lesson learned, yeah, it's mean you can continue, you can use previous project lesson learned or specific risk lesson learned, yeah, because if we comparing or comparing with project, usually when we use project lesson learn, we use similar project lesson learn, or uh, when the project is continuing from previous project, then we can use the previous lesson learn project, yeah, the same project but the different step, yeah, or we use lesson learned from other project that not relevant with our project or etc. Because this
Mhm.
is sometimes confused, yeah, what is previous lesson learned. Sometimes when we have project already closed, then we already document lesson learned as a historical document, yeah, but when we have another project, new project, do we need to use the lesson learned of other project or similar project?
Yeah, you can use other project. See, there are two things. If you have a waterfall kind of project, right, you'll have probably a lesson learned at the end of the project. If it's agile project, right, you'll have these retrospective meetings, right, where you are again understanding the lesson learned in at a regular interval of time. Uh, so you'll go through all those information because you need to identify what kind of risk might be there in your project, considering what were there in some similar projects which we have executed in the past, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it
So
means
that's the idea. Yeah. Yeah.
the relevant project or something similar the project,
Yeah.
and
Relevant similar projects. Yes, correct. So that will add more
specifically
value. Yeah.
a risk that can be happen in this project, yeah. For example, if we have project and we subcon con and we end the project, we use third party consultant, yeah. We have
Mhm.
same risk, yeah, whether the consultant is competent or not, or they need to have infrastructure from the US or other country that can be affected by war for delivery, and we can use the similar lesson learned, yeah.
Yes, correct. We can use similar lesson learned, right? Correct. Because
Okay, can
yeah, yeah, similar projects will have idea. Okay, what kind of risk were there in that project? We might encounter the same challenges this in our current project as well. Taking that into account. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll so this I'm giving you a high level view, right? And then we'd also be deep diving into each of these tasks as well. Correct. So yeah, we have performed preliminary document analysis. We talk about assessing the project environments for threats and opportunities, where we have these subtasks like we determine which organizational process assets, enterprise factors of project methodology is needed. We analyze different environmental factors to be considered in the planning phase. Some examples. of the techniques that we use includes pestle SWOT analysis. Right? We will talk about these techniques. Determine the organizational culture risk appetite, where we try to analyze environment for risk culture maturity, evaluating the project management information system processes, the data, overall systems that we have in place, understanding the stakeholders, so perform stakeholder analysis, analyzing what kind of constraints you have related to risk management. The constraints at different levels, like government, market, organization, environment, right, or technical risk. We will also focus stakeholders on creating a culture of risk awareness, right? So stakeholders should be aware with regard to what are the different risks which might impact the project. Determining business driver of project, understanding the assumptions, benefits, materialization of your project. Right? So all that we will cover in task 2. Task 3 will be confirming risk thresholds based on risk appetite. Talk about how we can align our project risk thresholds to the organizational risk appetite, calculating the risk the organization can absorb with regard to financial scope, environmental, technical, legal, quality, right? And these areas, we discuss about what are the thresholds. We lead conflict resolution between stakeholders. We will get all of those people at a common level of understanding on what is the overall risk appetite, what is the risk they are ready to take in the project. Then establishing the risk management strategy, where we try to understand the risk processes, the tools, provide some risk management templates or forms which we can use to manage the risk effectively. Metrics are certain, say, key forms indicators, KPIs, based on which we can measure the risk, categorizing the risks maybe in different severity categories, based on the criticality, right? That can be identified. Coaching, mentoring a team on risk management best practices, acting as a servant leader, where you support your team. You are there with the team to understand what kind of risks are there, how we can work towards closing out those risks in an effective manner. We show the team, so you act as a leader, and you show the team the correct path of how we can go ahead and kind of mitigate whatever risk we might have in our journey. Then determine the risk management plan, and that is done by defining the organizational risk roles and responsibilities. So align roles and responsibilities within the overall scope of the project by using a RACI chart. RACI responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. So responsible is actual doer, accountable is somebody who's held accountable, consulted is whose expertise is sought for, informed as those people who would be kept in the loop. You look to get a list of artifact resources, which will help you create a risk management plan. You can outline the key management activities, the aspects like who, what, when, where, how. Explain how risk management, risk breakdown structure RBS, right? We list down all the risks which are part of the project. Once you handle all those risks, you can plan for the risk effectively. You define a risk communication plan so that you can communicate with different stakeholders with regard to risk which you plan to handle or mitigate. You would focus on prioritizing your risks which you have in the project in an effective manner. Defining stakeholder empowerment, you empower all your stakeholders, need to educate those stakeholders effectively with regard to strategy needed to manage risks effectively. And task 6 is where we try to talk
Sorry,
about.
sorry. when we define stakeholder empowerment and educational strategy, is it seem that similar like a stakeholder communication plan, yeah. But I don't know in risk management project, do we need also how we handle communication for each stakeholder, yeah, based on the empowerment, yeah, and also uh, power and also interest for this project, yeah. It,
Right. Yeah.
do
Correct.
we?
The power, the interest, the influence, the impact, right? All those things will play important roles, which will help you to empower your stakeholders accordingly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Right.
because
Because, yeah, because depending on the importance of that stakeholder, you would need to keep them involved, make them understand also what kind of communication works the best with that stakeholder. Right. As you
yes,
said, so that is also important, right? Yeah. Does he
because
like say face-to-face communication or maybe email communication or some other format through
yes,
which you can, yeah, communicate with
yeah,
the stakeholder.
yeah, agree. Because
Yeah,
for its stakeholder, for example, high power, middle power, or risk power, and also combined with interest, also its uh, need different communication, yeah,
yeah,
different
yeah,
approach for them, yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Depending on the power influence they have, right? Their criticality. Some stakeholder is very important, very critical for the project. Right? You would not need to keep them involved appropriately to manage or mitigate the risk. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, understanding of the stakeholders is very important. Yeah, correct. Their power or the criticality of that stakeholder. So that then you can involve that particular person appropriately to bring in value on the project. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about each of these sub points as well. I'm just giving an overview of what all this particular module talks about. And yeah, the task, sixth task is about planning and leading your risk management activities with your stakeholders. So, right, where you collaborate with your team, that would be conducting the risk planning on the project. Uh, you leverage stakeholder analysis. Well, then you understand who are the different people we need to work closely with, their attitude, their influence, their roles and responsibilities. You can work with them accordingly. Managing the appetite and the attitudes of stakeholders towards this. Engaging those stakeholders when you're prioritizing the risks. Uh, Input from different stakeholders might be useful. Setting appropriate expectations on the rules of engagement. Tailing the risk communication for your stakeholders. What how you will be communicating with different stakeholders involved in the project, empowering the stakeholders so that we can handle this in the most effective manner. Trying to train, coach, educate your stakeholders in risk principles and processes. So you can create shared understanding of principles, processes, and also foster their engagement in managing risks effectively. So that's one of those aspects we need to look into. So yeah, those are the six tasks, right, which are part of as per the course outline as well in risk strategy and planning. Okay, so try to remember includes performing a preliminary document analysis, assessing project environments for threats and opportunities, confirming risk thresholds based on risk appetites, establishing risk management strategy,
Do
documenting the risk management plan, and planning and lead risk management activities and stakeholders.
do we need also similar like project? We need to regular project progress or risk progress for risk management uh, professional.
Yeah, understanding similar projects would be useful, right? Because then you know what kind of risk. were there in those projects, how we handle those projects effectively, right? Because those kind of understanding will be useful for you in your current project.
I'm still confused. Yeah. Do we need trade risk management as a single project, or part of a project? Yeah. So it means if this risk management as part of project, so we need to integrate RMP with PMP, yeah, project management plan, and also the progress, also the risk progress with project management progress. In my opinion, risk management will be part of project, yeah.
Correct. It will be part of your project management plan, definitely, right? It's one major component which you would need to track as you're tracking your project management plan, right? What kind of risks are there in your plan, right?
Yeah, yes.
Correct.
Sometimes I'm still confused because PMI provide project management professional as a integrated project between domain, yeah. But they also provide PMI schedule professional, PMI SP, and then PMI RMP, and also for risk and PMI PBA.
Yeah, business analysis part. Yeah,
Yeah, project business analysis.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. The different topics are there. And yeah, risk management is there, definitely, yeah, integrated in your overall project plan.
Yes.
Which we have as well.
So it's mean PBA, SB, and also RMP actually part who will be led by PMP, yeah?
Yeah, it will be very good.
Okay, noted.
Definitely. Yeah. Right. So as we talk about, in fact, every we have those different domains, right? Talk about these 5 domains that we'll talk in detail. First, we have risk strategy and planning. Right? So, what is a domain? Domain is basically a high-level knowledge area essential to the practice of project risk management. Right? Right. And in fact, Sindhani, you are already gone through the PMP certification as well, right? So there also you had those domains or knowledge areas, right? Your
Yes, yeah.
integration management, your risk management, right? Schedule management, cost management, human resource management, all those. On similar lines, they have in fact kept a similar structure. That's the good part about PMI, right? For all the certifications they have, right? They have tried to kind of follow a similar kind of structure. So they have these different domains, high level knowledge areas, so the 5 knowledge areas or 5 domains. Risk strategy planning, risk identification, risk analysis, risk response, monitor and close risks. Right? Inside every domain, you will have tasks. So the underlying responsibility of the project risk manager within each domain area. Right? And so an example of, say, a task statement would be, say, identifying threats and opportunities. Right. So domain is a high level knowledge area that basically represents a group of related tasks, skills, and responsibilities which are essential to the practice of project risk management. Right. So each domain will basically be a major competency area a risk professional must master. And then it is further broken down into tasks, work which you want to perform. And enablers are how you want to demonstrate that work. Right? So task is basically a specific responsibility or activity that a project risk manager performs within a given domain. And these tasks also describe the actions which are required so that we can apply knowledge, skills, and tools in real project situations. So you have domains, within domains, you have tasks. And to illustrate your task, you have the enablers associated with it. So enablers are your illustrative examples related to the work which is associated with the task. Right? So these are illustrative examples that describe how a task can be carried out in practice, and they show the type of activities, techniques, or outputs, right, that will demonstrate the performance of a task. They are not exhaustive or prescriptive. I mean, you don't have to use all of them, right? But they provide practical guidance on how a task might be executed. So they are helping connecting the abstract task to real world actions, which a project risk manager would take. Right? Some examples.
So it means enabler will be cover from methodology, technique, also tool, etc.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Right. So for every task, we'll have certain enablers, right? So if you want looking for identifying the threats and opportunities, for that you need to understand the project's complexity. You need to perform, say, impact analysis, right? So those will be your enablers or activities, right, associated with a certain task, right, which you need to perform, right, deliver value or get the required outcome from a certain task. So risk strategy and planning is the right, the first domain or first knowledge area, right, to talk about. Right. So firstly, we need to understand, right? In fact, here we're talking about risk strategy and planning, right? But what is firstly a risk to understand? So risk is an unanticipated event that can affect your individual resources, technologies, say processes, to name a few, involving projects. So it is the impact of risk on the objectives of the company. It can have both positive as well as negative effect. So risk are incidents that may occur suddenly, sometimes wholly unexpected. So, so these risks, they are uncertain, definitely, right? And they will hamper your projects. It's very important that you are able to identify those, track them out, ensure that you are able to close out those risks over a period of time. Try to understand also the likelihood or frequency for the occurrence of the risk, right? How frequently you feel that this risk would come up in the project. And for that, your judgment on the basis of past understanding, experience of individuals familiar with the activity. Right? So as you mentioned, you can go through lessons learned to understand what are the risks we encountered in civil projects. Right? So we might have those risks coming or cropping in our current project as well. Right? And also some experts, right? So some consultants might be again able to help you out. We can work with those consultants who have many years of experience in risk management. They can give their guidance, their support to make you understand that, okay, in this particular project, what are the different kind of risks which might suddenly prop up, right, and might start impacting our project, right? So again, by
Yes.
speaking with people, right, and also helps you.
Yeah, maybe the challenging part of risk management is how to quantify maybe probability and impact, yeah,
Yeah.
likelihood and impact. We need expert or maybe who already experience with
Mm,
the case, yeah, because if we cannot quantify the likelihood and impact, we cannot prioritize which one should be mitigated first yet compared
mm,
with others, yeah. And that's and our organization currently we have a metric comparing between likelihood and impact, and we have score between 0 until 20, yeah. Below 13 is low. Sorry, between below 10 is low. 10 until 15 is medium, and up above 15 is high. So we usually prioritize the high risk, yeah, highest risk, and then after that we prioritize the medium, but for low risk, sometimes we didn't handle specifically, yeah.
Right, right. Exactly. Risk score will help you, right, to understand the impact of the risk. Right? And yeah, quantifying the risk is important. You know, the probability impact and the probability multiplied by impact will give you a severity of that risk, right? Based on that, you can prioritize because you might be having hundreds of the risks, right, and limited time. So you can't action all of them at once, right? You need to understand which are most important at any point of time, right? So put more focus on those the highest severity related risks, right? Work towards handling those out effectively. That would be important. Right? And yes, that was risk which are uncertain events, which again you need to handle appropriately. You need to take guidance from the experts, right? How we can handle these risks effectively. Yeah. And then managing these risks is important by applying risk management, the collection of coordinated activities through which you can control or direct a company uh, towards handling the risks. The primary project manager will manage possible risks that can influence a project in any way, either positively or negatively. So the purpose is you want to reduce the influence of these risks, right? And sometimes one might not always know which risks are exposed by, when they occur, and why, right? And your understanding of risk management would be useful, right? So you would know that okay, what are different kinds of risks, how we can handle them effectively, how we can mitigate or deal with all those risks in an effective manner. Right? So to have understanding of risk management, you know that okay, what is the process and how we can effectively work towards handling and managing or mitigating the risks might impact our further.
Do you know? Sorry, with
Yeah,
the a recent risk management concept, uh, risk is not only negative risk, yeah. We know a positive risk also, yeah.
yeah.
That's where when we treat negative risk, yeah, it's okay, yeah, because apa ya? Sorry, even that will affect to business or project goal, yeah. But for positive risk, yeah, maybe this is should be also defined again, yeah, because positive risk related with innovation, yeah.
Mm,
Sometimes, for example, we define that the target of the project is just to deliver software, yeah. The scope maybe 1 until 10, yeah. But sometimes when we innovate, we can deliver the scope 1 until 11, yeah. But when we talk about project management, we sometimes we also need to take uh, care the scope, yeah. If we already define the scope with 1 until 10, if we deliver 1 until 11, it's okay, yeah. But we should also consider the time and quality, yeah. That's why how in risk management project, how we handle positive risk, yeah. Is it similar, or we can also maybe enlarge and exploit the positive risk to certain project or etc.
Correct. Yeah. So positive risk also you are handling tracking in a similar manner, right? And yeah, we'll talk about strategies that you can enhance, you can exploit those risks, those positive risks as well, right? So that you can take advantage of the opportunities, right, available to you uh, by making use of the risk available. Yeah, it's a similar aspect, right, in which you can uh, maybe in a tracker, right, you can document those positive risks as well, right? So that uh, you can go ahead and see what are the advantages or value, right, you're getting by taking or exploiting or enhancing those risks that also available to you, right?
Right, yeah, and now, yeah, in the innovation era and digital era, we should also enhance and exploit the positive reach, yeah, to give or to get more value, more innovative product, yeah. But yeah, sometimes high level management didn't understand why we try to expand or gain positive reach. Yeah, that's why we should communicate.
Yeah, exactly. Rightly said. So communication is very important, right? To make them understand that, yeah, what kind of advantage you'll get from these positive risks. Once you're able to communicate effectively with them, they will be able to understand, okay, the value which the organization will gain, right, by making use of those services. Yeah. Right. So project risk management needs a serious and in-depth approach to the high degree of uncertainty, right? To have put emphasis on that, okay, what kind of risk we have and how we would be dealing with all those risks. Right? So risk management is all about being able to recognize, identify your risks, able to document those risks and in any risk tracker or risk registers, right? Or in any specific templates you might have, say, within the organization. Analyzing them, and as you also mentioned, Ronit, quantifying the risk is very important. Right? Understanding the probability, the impact, so that you can find out the severity value of that risk, right? And then you can prioritize that risk accordingly. And, and yeah, suitable risk scores would be useful for you, right, for that quantification. And as you mentioned, say on a scale of 0 to 20, right? Yeah, you can use any scale that works the best. Uh, and then try to define and categorize risks in appropriate severities so that based on the criticality they can be worked upon, dealt with within the organization. So try to limit the results of risk as much as possible so that the purposes can be continued to be met. So, so try to understand what kind of risks we have in place and how we can work towards bringing a value, right? When we're able to deal with the risks appropriately. So risk management is not a reactive activity. Find out which risks may arise. So risk management should be involved in every process of planning. As I said, it's not a one-time activity. Uh, you need to do it on an ongoing basis. Right? It's not that the risk only occurs, say, at the start of the project. Right? It can happen. So you can identify risk at any point of time. Right? So ongoing basis, right? You see, okay, what kind of risks might be there, and you track them. You ensure that they are closed out over a period of time. For that, for every risk, you'll also have a risk owner, right, who will have that accountability to ensure uh, that that particular risk is closed out in due course of time. So probably a due date can also be tracked, which will be your target date within which you are planning to close out the specific the risk which we have in place. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing and not a one-time activity. It will be done on a day-to-day basis. And in many organizations, right, you have these meetings as well, right, where we come together, right, and they try to review the risk tracker, make any changes, modifications to it. So yeah, we'll be doing that as an ongoing exercise in our project.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
based on my experience, yeah, when we dealing with early project, yeah, sometimes we didn't detailize the risk when we develop project management plan, yeah. Sometimes
okay,
we didn't explore or define as much as possible risk and how to mitigate, yeah. I understand because based on my experience, sometimes when the scope is not bigger, we only prioritize schedule, cost, and scope. Yeah, sometimes we not aware with the risk. Yeah, and then after that, if the risk happen, so the project team what we call, yeah, not proactive but reactive to handle the event the happen, yeah, to mitigate the risk. Because actually there is three category, yeah, to dealing with risk, yeah. Preventive, corrective, and also preventive, corrective, and also sorry, I forgot the last one, yeah. Uh, and that's why how we socialize that every project manager, each of project manager should detailize the risk even before project start. Even when we make project management plan, we already define as much as a risk what will affect the project, yeah. Based on your experience, how you deal with this step, yeah, how to detailize the risk that will affect to the project.
okay. So yeah, even during initiation, right, we're charting out the project management, the plan, right? So whatever risks are there. So this management plan is also, in fact, one segment of your project management plan, right? So yeah, so that will be included, and you will be defining what kind of risks you foresee would be there in the project, right? And a separate risk register you will be creating, right, where you'll be tracking probably the initial risk which you identify when you're starting the project. And then you'll be maintaining it through different phases of the project, right? From planning to execution to monitoring and controlling part of the project. Uh, right. So firstly, have a risk management plan within the project management plan, right? And I have a risk register created as well, right, where you track all the risk items, their severity, their criticality, the risk owner, due date, all those details
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yes, because based on my experience, yeah, Harits, sometimes when we have project, yeah, with other company, yeah, as consultant, when
Mhm.
we define project management plan, we hide the risk, yeah, not to present to the customer, yeah, to ensure that they understand and satisfy with our presentation, yeah. But in now I'm aware that actually we should also present to them that the risk that will affect and or impact to our project ya. When we
Correct, correct.
present project management plan ya, when we present in kickoff meeting ya. So not
Right, right.
only us but the customer also prepare when the risk exists, and this is part of both consultant and customer to handle the risk ya.
Yeah, exactly. So what I've seen in my experiences working with the customer, like in my current project as well, we are tracking two different aspects. One is the internal risk, one external. So external ones is which you want to showcase to your customer as well. And there might be some risk you, as you mentioned, yeah, you don't want to share with the customer, right? So we can hide those specific risks. So risk trackers are created, right? But then, yeah, there might be some those risks which you want to just keep it confidential or only internal to your organization as well. But yeah, the other risks which are tracked as external, right? So you want to share with your customers as well, so that they also know, okay, these are all risks they might which we foresee and which might impact our project which we are running currently. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but sometimes yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes yeah, this is affect also with culture yeah. Sorry to say yeah, for West country, they already talking, frankly speaking, before the project yeah, all the risk, all the possibility, and to the customer yeah, so the customer will understand the impact yeah. But for each country, sometimes they hide the risk yeah before the project. That's why we need to change the mind of each country yeah.
Mhm.
Me Indonesia also categorized is country yeah. From Asia, uh, and also South Asia, Southeast Asia. Sometimes they think like that yeah. But if
Mhm.
you already experience with Canada, Singapore, yeah, sometimes it's already explained in the kickoff meeting, yeah, on the risk, the every possibility. Yeah, and they know the risk, yeah, include, for example, if something happen, the additional fee, etc. Yeah.
Mhm. Right, right. Yeah, I don't know. So yes, yeah, depends on the culture, right, as well, right. And yeah, different country, different culture, right? They have different attitudes with regard to risks, right? Some will be open, some might not be sharing those risks right to start. Right. So yeah, the approach, I think, of how we are dealing with the risks, right, how we are managing it, may again vary depending upon the the people and the culture
Yeah, yes,
as
yes.
well.
I understand because I already meet deal with different people yeah. For
Mhm.
example, from Australia, US, Europe, they already uh, tell the truth yeah. That
Mhm.
this is the condition, this is how to mitigate when the initial project and the kickoff, this explain what will happen, what the possibility. So we understand, yeah, and
Mhm.
also we aware when I act as a consultant, yes, we need to hide a risk, yeah. But when I act as a customer, I need uh, big picture about the project, yeah, the risk, the impact, and etc. Yeah, that's why
Mhm.
we need also, yeah, when we deal with different people, we need to have a different strategy ya how to explain to them.
Right. Yeah. Correct. You will have different strategy to explain to different category stakeholders. Right. Yeah. This is not a one fit for all approach in which you can follow. Exactly. Right. So yeah, various project sizes, right, need a different approach. Right. The slide talks about that. Right. So it's not the same approach which you can follow. Yeah. Depending on the complexity, and yeah, you brought up important aspect that culture is also important. Right. Yeah. The country, the clients you're dealing with, their approach of how they were plan to manage and deal with risks. That will play a very important role. Right. So consequence of the risk, when you measure the anticipated level impact on the company and its objectives, should the risk occur. So it's very important. You understand that okay, on the overall impact this will have, right? Because then accordingly you can work towards taking a prompt action. Some risk which is having a very high level of impact on the say the organizational objectives. If you want to ensure that you can mitigate and deal with that risk as early as possible. For every risk, we'll have a risk owner who will have the obligation of maintaining that risk and ensuring that it gets tracked and moved towards closure over a period of time. So if you don't have a risk owner, right, you won't have any accountability of that risk item getting tracked or say closed out over a period of time. Very important to have somebody tagged to every risk item we have in place. That's the area that is important. Right. So that there are three factors, right, that will affect the attitude towards risk. Right? And those three main factors are basically risk appetite, risk tolerance, and risk threshold. So risk appetite is basically the degree of uncertainty an individual organization is willing to pursue or accept in anticipation of a reward. For example, you can have a company which will have a high risk appetite for, say, investing in innovative technology, but they might have a low appetite towards regulatory compliance rules. So uncertainty, which they are willing to accept in different areas, that would be a risk appetite of that person or company under consideration. Then second concept to talk about is your risk tolerance. So risk tolerance is the acceptable variation in performance outcomes, which is related to specific objectives. Or it also defines the boundaries of acceptable risk in quantitative or say qualitative terms. So, for example, you can mention that okay, a project may tolerate cost overruns by up to 10%, but anything beyond that is unacceptable. So that is your tolerance level of the organization. That okay, we can only handle a cost overrun of 10%, not more than that. Right? So that's what they are able to tolerate. And thirdly, risk threshold will be a specific point at which your risk will become unacceptable. So if when you cross the threshold, it would mean that the risk will no longer be tolerated and management actions must be taken. For example, you can say that if the schedule delays exceeds 2 months, the project sponsor may decide to terminate the project. So that is the threshold limit which you have kept for it, which is for 2 months. So anything above that, it will become altogether unacceptable, and hence you might need to cancel the project altogether. Right? So these are three uh, aspects we need to look into. So firstly, risk appetite, which refers to how much uncertainty an organization or the stakeholders it's willing to take on,
Yeah,
or that's willing to accept, perceive, accept.
but
Yeah,
Arit, for risk appetite, yeah, sometimes not all institutions aware, yeah, they should have risk appetite, yeah, a risk that should be accept or tolerate by organization to be accept by organization, yeah. Sometimes management did not aware how we define risk appetite, yeah. So it's mean risk appetite is the tolerant or the minimum or maximum risk that can be accepted by organization, yeah.
correct, correct. Yeah, so sometimes they're not aware, so yeah, you need to make them aware, and it varies depending upon the individual and company as well, right? Because it varies on the any specific aspect. For something, you might have a high risk appetite. For some other areas, you might have a low appetite towards taking on risk on this area. Because say you want to invest on innovative technology products, right? So you have a high risk appetite towards that area, right? But you don't care much about say SLAs or compliance, right? So you might have a low appetite towards say anything risky in that area. You would hardly care, right? Because right, you don't want to take any advantage, uh, right? And you feel that it is not important, and probably right. So every individual will have their own mindset that okay, uh, this is one area I want to focus upon, right? This is one area which is not important for me, right? And accordingly, they'll have an appetite towards it. So to ensure that. And that needs to be aligned with the organization as well, right? As you rightly said. Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So you also
yeah,
need to understand.
but we need to communicate at least the organization, yeah, to define risk appetite, yeah. Sometimes when we have project with organization that
Okay, so yeah, we're talking about three important factors of risk attitude, right? Where firstly we spoke about risk appetite, which is the degree of uncertainty which an individual or say organization is willing to pursue or accept in anticipation of a reward. For example, could be the company may have a higher risk appetite, say for investing in innovative technology, but they might, on the other hand, they may have a low appetite towards the regulatory compliance risks. Risk appetite aspect, then risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is basically to indicate the amount, degree of volume of risk stakeholders can afford or which they are willing to take. So, so after we assign the rating of the risk, team works to determine if they was on to transfer, say, accept, refuse, or reduce a risk. And team might also sometimes decide to accept the low risk when the possible event that is not likely to happen. And it will have, say, little effect if it did occur. Right? So risk tolerance is the acceptable variation in performance outcomes related to specific objectives. Which is basically your boundary of acceptable risk in quantitative or say qualitative terms. For example, you can talk about a project may tolerate cost overruns of up to 10%, and beyond that is unacceptable. Right. So that is the tolerance level. So, so degree of overruns at 10%. That's the kind of a risk you take on that aspect. But over that is will be unacceptable. So that is your tolerance limit. Talk about. Right? So your risks are your changes, and it can affect different aspects of the project. Uh, so it can affect your objectives, your schedule, quality, cost, scope, and it can affect in both ways, positive as well as negative ways. Right? I spoke about risk can be both positive and negative in nature. So risk, which so a factor which affects your risk, or as well as risk management, is your risk threshold. The risk threshold is your tool for project management, which can measure degree of uncertainty in the influence level. It's a specific value by which stakeholder organization will accept a particular risk or not. It's or the risk amount which the organization or stakeholders are willing to accept. So like the organization is willing to accept an overrun of 10% on the cost. So that will be your the overall threshold limit. That, okay,
So,
if it's 10%, that's fine. If not,
so,
then it's unacceptable.
so what's the difference between risk tolerant and risk threshold? Yeah, tolerant is mean actually plus minus, yeah, from the appetite, but tolerant, but threshold, it's mean maximum or minimum can be accept or not.
Correct. So tolerance is the variation, yes, plus and minus 10%, as you said. And threshold is that limit. That's the point. Right. So like after above 10%, it is unacceptable. Right. And tolerance is the limit. Okay, plus and minus 10%. That is the variation which we can have. So threshold, if we talk about threshold, is the point post above which, right, it will become unacceptable. That's the difference between threshold and tolerance. Tolerance will be your variation in your performance outcomes, and threshold is your point at which risk becomes unacceptable.
Yes, not.
Right.
But
So the level risk acceptable, and with this,
but why we define the through to factor, yeah, risk threshold and risk tolerance, because I mean the meaning is almost the same, yeah. If we already risk appetite, we can use risk tolerant plus minus from appetite, or risk threshold. It's the same, yeah.
yeah, tolerance is yeah, it's a different term because it takes how much. So you can tolerate 5% also, 8% also, right? But threshold, you're talking about a value. It's a point. Right?
Yes.
It's a kind of different concept, right? But yeah,
Threshold.
you can say they're somewhat yeah, interconnected. All of these
Yes.
terms, right? Right. Yeah.
Threshold is a point, but tolerance is a range, yeah.
Range, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's different. But yeah, you're kind of right because yeah, they are somewhat interconnected, right? To that you're getting threshold to the tolerance limit which you have defined. Right. So if something is below, right, the threshold limit, right, so then stakeholder will accept that. But if it is above, right, they won't be they will find it as unacceptable. Right? So if you have those defined, you can then take into account whether you want to accept that risk or not. That is very good, useful. Right. So in the first domain, if you talk about risk strategy and planning, right? So there are 6 tasks which are part of this domain, namely perform a preliminary document analysis. We have assess project environment for threats and opportunities, confirm risk thresholds based on risk appetite, establish risk management strategy. We have document the risk management plan, right? And then we have plan and lead risk management activities with stakeholders. So we talk about performing a preliminary document analysis, basically reviewing your key project documents, can include say a project charter, say a business case, a contractual document, and that you do so that you can identify initial sources of risk. And it also sets the foundation for further risk assessment. Right? So it's also reviewing some documents, and from that you are able to understand, right, what will be the kind of risks which might impact the project. Secondly, would be assessing the project environment for threats and opportunities, where you would be analyzing your internal and external factors, uh, aspects like the organizational culture, the market conditions, the stakeholder expectations, so that we can identify any potential risks and opportunities. So we talk about third threats and opportunities. They are uh, external to the organization as a whole. Right. Thirdly, confirming risk thresholds based upon the risk appetite, right, where you will be aligning your risk limits with the organizational stakeholders' risk appetite to ensure there is clarity on when the risks are acceptable and when they would require escalation or a mitigation strategy. Right. So that to understand, okay, how much risk we are able to tolerate, what is the maximum limit which we are ready to accept. So that should be aligned with the organization. Establish a risk management strategy where we define the overall approach, methodologies, roles, and tools through which we can manage risks consistently throughout the project. Documenting the risk management plan is where we will be creating a formal plan through which we can detail out how risks will be identified, analyzed, responded to, and also say monitored across the project life cycle. And then planning and leading risk management activities with the stakeholders is where our focus would be on engaging and collaborating with stakeholders so that we can conduct our risk workshops, reviews, decision-making sessions, right? So that we ensure there is risk ownership and accountability, right? So that we can ensure that all those risk items are kind of tracked to closure over a period of time. So when talk about performing a preliminary document analysis,
So what the output of the task one, yeah, actually?
output of the task will be your basically risk management plan. Because once you
Oh,
have, yeah,
oh,
that will be created.
yeah, will be risk management plan, yeah.
Yeah, risk management
Okay,
plan.
okay.
So, so for that, you need to gather and review your documents, right? So before uh, you want to identify risks, try to review any preliminary documents, which can be any industry benchmarks which are available, or say previous lesson learned documents, historical project data, or say any other relevant sources, because this would help you establish context and also uncover potential areas of risks early in the project. Right? Because as early as possible, you're able to deal with risk, the better it is. Right? Because cost of uh, dealing with risk would increase, right, if it is dealt with at a later stage. Right? So it's very important that you take a prompt action right at the start. Right? So go through all the documentation you have in place. So that will act as a great source which will be used to help you in identifying what kind of risk we might have, which might impact our project. That is where having these preliminary documents would be useful for us. They would help us in identifying the risk Then secondly, try to determine and assign responsibility, where you identify and assign who will conduct the preliminary document analysis. For example, you can have a project manager for your project scope or creating a project charter. Risk manager can handle risk related activities. Financial controller can look into post financial aspects. Right? So if you have owners tagged to different areas, right, you would ensure that they get worked upon, right, and you can track the progress upon it as well. Establish relevant documents where you define the set of documents that need to be reviewed for risk insights. Okay? And you can have documents like the project charter, uh, say business case, contracts, say financial records, lessons learned, historical data, industry benchmarks, regulatory guidelines. They can be a large number of documents that will prove to be useful for you. Yeah, performing a preliminary document analysis.
It mean it can be best practice for of risk management also, yeah, or refers to PMI, because if we refers to risk management best practice, we can refers to ISO 21,000 and also COSO, yeah. But or we just define risk management based on PMI.
Yeah, both probably I would say, yeah, yeah. Because based upon PMI, following the PMI principles is again important, right? And yeah, risk management as for risk management principles, right? If you have understanding, you can track those risks in a structured manner as per whatever process we have in place. So try to assess your project environment for threats and opportunities, where you try to determine which organizational process assets or environmental factors or say project methodology is needed, agile, waterfall, hybrid. So organizational process assets are basically your where you are identifying the tools, templates, historical data, the lessons learned, right, and also your standard procedures that can guide the risk analysis process. Right? So having knowledge about those templates, the historical data, you can start reviewing those, utilizing those. They can save a large amount of your time, effort, and cost, right? If you're able to make use of your organizational process assets. So we already have, say, a risk management plan, risk management template available, right? Or say a risk register template, right? You can start utilizing that. So you don't need to start creating those templates from scratch. You would already have something which you can kind of build upon. That is where you can track and ensure uh, that there is saving on cost, time, and effort as well. And then we have enterprise environmental factors, where you consider those factors like market conditions, your regulatory requirements, industry standards, and say organizational culture that can influence risk identification and management. And try to consider those factors as well, right? Because they will have a strong impact on the risk nature within the individual project, right? And they will also involve aspects of law and rules, procedures, processes that you need to follow. Also, the criteria for risk and the organization's appetite for risk. And if we talk about project methodology, is where our focus is on deciding which project management approach is being used. Is it agile? Is it waterfall? Is it a combination of both, or the hybrid methodology? And that is done so that we ensure that the risk management approach basically aligns with your project delivery methods. So this ensures that your risk management is tailored to the organization's context, environment, and project methodology for more effective risk identification and response.
Oh, can we also count organization culture as organization process asset?
Organizational culture, yeah, correct. That's
Yeah, yeah.
also organizational process. Exactly. Right. And yeah, understanding the methodology is very important, whether it is agile, it's waterfall, right? And accordingly, your risk management approach, uh, it would be put to practice or put in place. Right? So yeah, examples of organizational process assets would include, it can include your knowledge base, right? Like not lessons learned, so any project files, say effect history, project management database, financial database, historical data, past projects, risk register, right? So all these are your organizational process assets, right? And any information you have with regard to, say, any processes, policies, uh, procedures, any organizational process documents or policies, guidelines, which you might have available to you, any organizational templates, right? Tailoring project lifecycle which is being used, change management processes, associated documentation, right? So all these are organizational process assets. How you'll be managing the communication with different stakeholders, right? Whether it be face-to-face communication, virtual communication, what will be the format of communication? Will it be documents? Will it be emails? Will it be meetings? The lessons learned, right? A record of those lessons learned, because you can review those. It's all those knowledge bases, processes, procedures, policies, right? All comes under the organizational process assets. If we talk about enterprise environmental factors, right, it will include your internal factors uh, as well as the external factors. Right? Internal factors, which are more to the environmental factors, will include your organizational structure, organizational culture. Okay, so I think you were talking about organizational culture. So yeah, it comes more into the enterprise. It's because it deals with more the environment within the organization, right? Not the knowledge base, right? So yeah, the organizational culture, as you mentioned, is an enterprise environmental factor, basically. Your working style, the organizational policies, employees, skill, review record, or external factors, or regulations, market conditions, political conditions, uh, infrastructure, the culture of the entire country. So all these are part of the enterprise environmental factors. Right? So market conditions, regulatory requirements, industry standards, organizational culture, right? All these are your enterprise environmental factors. Right? So different environmental factors need to be considered in the planning phase. A couple of examples related to it would be Vestal as well as SWOT analysis. So Vestal is is an acronym, right? Where remember that P stands for political, E is economical, S is social, technological, legal, and environmental. Right? It's political. It includes aspects like the current tax policy, trade policies, political stability, right? All these factors. Economical, we have economic aspects like inflation rate, exchange rate, interest rate. Social, we have lifestyle attitude, cultural barriers, population, right? Health consciousness, demographics. In technological aspects, we have innovation, right? Automation, awareness of technology, cybersecurity, technological change. In legal, we'll have laws, right? Discrimination laws, health and safety, production of copyright, consumer safety, right? And environment, weather, the climate change, environmental policies, recycling, pollution, sustainability, right? So that is your uh,